Over the airways of ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 250-plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM/FM listing nearest you. Plus, the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio and Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airways of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by mycomputercareer.edu. Training for a better life. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Lots of stuff to get into today. Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, losing last night to the Kansas City Chiefs, courtesy of a 24-7 victory in Mexico City by the Chiefs themselves. Not the greatest performance from Patrick Mahomes, just 19-32 for 182 yards with a touchdown, an interception, and a sack on the game. Not the greatest rushing attack by the Kansas City Chiefs, just 11 carries for 35 yards by Darrell Williams. Shady McCoy had 7 carries for 29 yards. Not the greatest game for the receivers, the Sammy Watkins of the world. Tyreek Hill pulled a hamstring, if I remember correctly. Travis Kelce was real, 7 receptions for 92 yards. Arguably the best tight end in football, obviously so. In the case of the Los Angeles Chargers, Phillip Rivers, 28-52, 353 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, sacked twice. Clearly beyond his prime, clearly not what he used to be. Questions as to whether or not the Chargers should move in a different direction is something people are looking at. Excuse me. We got to pay attention to that and recognize that for what it is. I think the age of the stationary quarterback is fading before our very eyes. When we see the heroics, the greatness of a Lamar Jackson, when we see the kind of things that Deshaun Watson could do, at least before he showed up at Baltimore last week, when we see Russell Wilson's ability week after week, his ability to extend plays and to do the things that he does on a great level. When you consider the fact that him, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Patrick Mahomes are all league MVP candidates, you got to pay attention to that as well. And a legitimate question I think could be asked right now is that if you had an opportunity to have one of these quarterbacks, which one would it be? What direction would you want to go in, particularly at this moment in time? Is it any of those 4? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Drew Brees? You know, those are the kind of questions that you got to ask yourself, and I'm opening the floor for whatever consideration you'd like to give that. But I'd be remiss in avoiding the subject at hand because obviously when it comes to me, there's a lot of people that want to get at me. They want to have a discussion or they want to attack me. Either way, it don't matter. A lot of people out there, particularly in Black America, didn't like my comments about Colin Kaepernick. My retort to all of them is that you're not listening. You're not hearing what I'm saying. It's unfortunate. It really, really is, but it's okay. I even had my man Terrell Owens get at me earlier today with a tweet, you know, talk about I don't get it, and this is why people say what they say about me and all of this stuff. T.O. and I are cool. We gonna always be cool. But I'm entitled to not give a speck of a damn about what he has to say on this particular issue, just like he doesn't have to care about what I feel. To me, friendship, genuine friendship, and love with people have nothing to do with whether or not we agree or disagree. Let me be very, very clear about that. I'm not one of those dudes. I don't believe that your friendship with me is predicated on you co-signing everything that I have to say. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me. You ain't going to disrespect me, but you can disagree with me anytime you want. It's perfectly fine. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. What do you think? Please, I'm not used to having rights for crying out loud based on how I grew up. My 4 older sisters ran the show, along with my mama, God rest her wonderful soul. I barely had any rights, JC. They don't even understand. So it really doesn't matter to me. But let me be very, very clear, because this is my radio show. And I want to make sure that I'm stating my positions clearly. And I have no problem with anybody who disagrees with me or even want to attack my positions. All I ask is that when you attack me accurately. Don't misinterpret or misconstrue or for your own benefit falsely label what I'm saying. Now, on First Take this morning, Colin Kaepernick, I had in my possession a waiver that Colin Kaepernick signed in 2011. and how, according to the NFL, it was pretty damn near identical to what he refused to sign this past Friday and Saturday. Now, Colin Kaepernick's people no doubt have a different version of that story. And the reason why I don't want to get into the liability waiver too much is because the NFL has its side. Colin Kaepernick has its side. If the NFL shows me two waivers, or Colin Kaepernick shows me a waiver that's different from what the NFL showed, and both sides say they're lying, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? Somebody lying. Okay? What does that lend itself towards? A complete, undeniable distrust that both sides have for one another, right? Of course it does. Now, if I went on the air saying Colin Kaepernick should trust the NFL, I'm a new fool. If I went on the air and I said the NFL did absolutely nothing wrong and Colin Kaepernick is totally wrong, we got a problem. When you sit up there and you look at my post on social media and I'm saying that Colin Kaepernick's actions eradicated everything that he did, if you took that to mean, or you tried to say that I'm meaning, that disregards his kneeling, his protesting, and the reasons behind it, you're sadly mistaken. I am a black man. Colin Kaepernick is a black man that was protesting racial oppression and police brutality against black men. What black person do you know would protest that, would have a problem with Colin Kaepernick protesting that? That is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard in my life, which is why I'm ready to cuss everybody out, because that's just stupid. That's just stupid. To assume that I am saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not even talking about the liability waiver. I'm talking about one thing and one thing only. You want an NFL job. How does the NFL have 25 different teams, representatives show up? You don't show up to the workout. You conduct your own workout. You speak to the media thereafter without getting any questions, and you use that to antagonize the NFL, to call them out, and then say, oh, by the way, can I have a job? Who does that and expects a job? All of these people with all your emotions, no one has answered that question for me. I got my girl Karen Hunter, my sister from another mother, who I love dearly, and I plan on speaking to her today. And I showed up on her radio show yesterday, Sirius XM, Channel 186, Urban View Radio, must listen to radio, 3 to 6 p.m. every weekday. Oh, by the way, the Black Eagle himself, Joe Madison, haven't been on that show this week about this issue, but that's my brother, and I'm quite sure there's some things he might disagree with me about. I'm all ears. I'm not offended by Karen Hunter disagreeing with me. She's my sister. I love her. Iron sharpens iron. She might bring up points and elements I missed. We got that. She ain't questioning my blackness, though. She's not questioning the fact that I'm her brother. She's not ignoring my history of doing things for black people in this industry and beyond. She's just saying she respectfully disagrees with me about this point because she didn't have a problem with Colin Kaepernick wearing a Kunta Kinte shirt. I did. She didn't have a problem with Colin Kaepernick not showing up for the workout. I did. She didn't have a problem with Colin Kaepernick maintaining his position and spewing what he spewed in the aftermath of not showing up for the workout in Flowery Branch. I did. She brought up, and her callers brought up, issues where you have folks in that particular area of the country that were sitting outside ready to protest Colin Kaepernick. And they brought up the fact that there were Trump supporters. I didn't bring up any kind of correlation. Didn't even think about it. You know why? Because of Colin Kaepernick, that's why. Colin Kaepernick and his people, led by his absolutely wonderful lady Nessa. And I don't care what people say about her and how she might come at me or somebody else. I had the pleasure weeks ago of meeting her and her team. They're all good people. I got no issues with them. And as far as a woman goes, in terms of her being Colin Kaepernick's woman, let me tell you something right there. You want to love a woman, you love a woman that stands by your side the way she has stood by his side. Whether you agree or disagree with her. You a man and you got a woman that stands by your side the way that she has stood by his side, that's a woman worth loving. You ain't going to hear a negative word out of my mouth about her. Not a word. But I will say this. An abundance of people in Colin Kaepernick's camp has been spent the last several weeks communicating with me. And what was the communication? How so desperately they wanted Colin Kaepernick to be back in the NFL. Stephen A., do you think a team will ever call him? Do you really think a team will ever call him? Could you please, Stephen A., could you please help us in our cause? Could you please stand with Cap on that point? Point out that he's been blackballed. Point out that he's been exiled. Point out how unfair it is. Point out how he should still be back in the NFL. Point out how this ain't right. My producer, Shannon, how long have I been doing that? How many months, if not years, have I been doing exactly that? Let me look at the white people. All the white people that work in my office, my colleagues, that I'm sitting here looking at y'all every day. Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed. Colin Kaepernick has been exiled. Colin Kaepernick has been treated unfairly. What has happened to him is not right. And I will not stop saying that. How many years have I been saying that? I'm looking at all the white people that work here with me in the office. How many times have I said that, y'all? Tell me I'm missing something. So after all of that noise, after Jay-Z got called out, Jay-Z stands before a multitude of billionaire white owners who don't give a damn about the black plight because they don't relate to it. What would they know about it? They're billionaires and they're white. These are not people that are exposed to plights that affect black people. I'm sorry, am I saying something offensive? He sits before them. A cat from Marcy Projects who became a rap mogul, who now is a big-time figure. He makes a deal with the NFL. He gets castigated. He gets crucified. What happens? He sits before them. Yo, man, we got to give Colin Kaepernick a chance. We can't let this go. And they said, wait a minute, buddy. What you talking about? Made about $10 billion in revenue. Ratings up, revenues up. The league is more popular than ever before, Jay-Z. Top 4 leading candidates for the MVP are not only black, but they're black quarterbacks. And oh, by the way, Colin Kaepernick ain't making any headlines. We don't need him. We don't have to do a damn thing. We can move right on. And we're going to be just fine. And Jay-Z said, hell no. It ain't going down like that. If this how y'all going to be, I can't be a part of this. So they turned around and they capitulated. I don't mean it literally when I say forget the waiver. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm quite sure that something was unfair. I'm quite sure that something was awry. What I'm saying, however, is if you wanted a workout and 25 teams was going to show up and your primary purpose was to ball again in the National Football League, how did you help yourself even by having your own workout, when you follow the workout with a press conference antagonizing the commissioner and the owners? How do you expect to get a job? And suddenly this news, all the NFL insiders, Colin Kaepernick deserves a call. He hasn't gotten a call. But duh, you think? Let me imitate for the purposes of what I am trying to illustrate. By pretending, I'll even go the white route. Let's think about all the great people in the business that have established themselves for years. The great Bob Ryan in Boston, the great Mike Lupica in New York, the great Tony Kornheiser, first for the Washington Post, now for ESPN. Take all of the great Bill Plaschke, the voice of LA. Let's take all of those people into account. They're going to go to the Boston Globe, the New York Daily News, the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, respectively. I want y'all to imagine for 1 second, they're white now, white, middle-aged men, if not older. Imagine this for a second. Y'all make me sick. I can't stand y'all. I don't trust a damn thing you said. Don't trust a damn thing you doing. You don't mean a damn thing to me. Y'all ain't worth a damn. I can't stand y'all. All y'all do is lie to people. You don't tell the truth. You hoodwink people. You lead them to run astray. You ain't worth a damn. Oh, by the way, can I have this job? How many of them going to end up employed? That is what I'm saying. And we all know that when white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. It's significantly more worse for us than it is for them. So my only point in saying what I was saying is Colin Kaepernick, if you wanted a shot at the NFL job, which is what you told us, make all the noise you want after the workout Saturday. Just do the workout. That was my position. Period. We never expect fairness. We're not surprised by that. But somehow, some way, any black person that articulates that position is a sellout and a coon and all of this other stuff. Okay. All right. Steve, you're live with Stephen A. Go.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm all right. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, great fan of your show. I respect you tremendously. But I got one question to ask you, man. What did Colin Kaepernick do to get exonerated from the NFL?
You mean exile? You mean exile? You mean exile?
Yeah.
Nothing.
What did he
Nothing.
do?
Nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. Next question. Why is it that Colin Kaepernick, his agents, and his lawyers got to go through the NFL to get him a chance to be back in the NFL?
Stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. That's false. The NFL put together the workout. The reason why the lawyers had to get involved is because in order for any workout to take place, one must sign a waiver to be out on the field. Every single player at the NFL Scouting Combine, every single NFL player has to sign it because you indemnify yourself from injury. Anything can happen for you during the workout. Now, Colin Kaepernick says it's more than just an injury. There was other stuff they slid into the waiver agreement. The NFL emphatically denies that by stating all we did, because we've never done anything like this for an individual player, was to secure ourselves in the event that he got injured. That's it. He's still free to sue us for any other reason he so chooses, just like we would be free to fight it. But to say that the waiver was related to anything other than injury is patently false. That's the NFL position. That's where the lawyers get involved because of the waiver. Standard procedure in that regard.
Okay, I understand that. They don't want to get sued if he gets injured. Okay, next question is
I need you to hurry up because there's other callers on the line. Go ahead.
I understand it. Why did he need Jay-Z to orchestrate?
He did not need Jay-Z. They haven't even been communicating. Jay-Z partnered with the National Football League. When Jay-Z partnered for the National Football League to address social justice issues and be in charge of their halftime entertainment, what happened was that Jay-Z took a hit because he was asked about Colin Kaepernick, and he did not spew the right verbiage that was satisfying to the African-American community and specifically the Colin Kaepernick supporters beyond that as well. As a result, Jay-Z was behind the scenes insisting upon getting Colin Kaepernick a chance to get back in the league. It wasn't something that was orchestrated between Colin Kaepernick and Jay-Z. Jay-Z was doing this on his own, in concert with Roger Goodell, without even letting executive VPs in the NFL know what the hell was going on. That's the truth. Gotta go. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Rex. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Rex, go.
Hello. Well, I think everybody's missed the point of all this. Back in the 60s, I was one of those white kids that marched with the folks trying to get social justice in this country. And at one point in one of the marches, a black woman pointed her finger at us, and she said, "There'll be no flag burning, there'll be no flag desecration. This is a march about social injustice and discrimination, not about the Vietnam War. We don't want to hear any of that stuff going on." Well, I was rather confused about this, so I asked one of my professors at school, and he said, yes, there's been rules laid down that you must always honor the country. And the protest will come because you're in there.
Sir, I'm going to interrupt you because I got to go to a hard commercial break, and we don't have all day. Are you saying that Colin Kaepernick disrespected the country and disrespected the flag? Is that your bottom line?
Down by Martin Luther King.
I understand that. Let me ask you a question. That doesn't answer my question, sir. I asked you a direct question about Colin Kaepernick. Are you saying that he disrespected the flag and disrespected the country?
That's what the President of the United States said.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. First of all, I thought that I was speaking to Rex, not President Donald Trump. Secondly, just because President Donald Trump feels a certain way doesn't mean there are millions of people who don't disagree with him, justifiably so, I might add. Thirdly, and more importantly, what we're going to get out of this, what we're going to remind our audiences about this, Colin Kaepernick never ever once disrespected the flag. He never ever once. He was unpatriotic. There are military men and women who have called into this show saying that while they don't like what he did, they respect and fought for his right to do it, because that is the privilege accorded to an American citizen, a right to peacefully protest. Number 4, before Colin Kaepernick took a knee, Colin Kaepernick spoke to a member of the military that told him what he was originally doing was disrespectful, and that by taking a knee, it was not disrespectful. So to sit up there and to say that Colin Kaepernick was being disrespectful to our flag, being disrespectful to America, and that he was unpatriotic is patently false. I have a problem with Colin Kaepernick not showing up to a damn interview for a job he swears he wanted. But that does not mean that I don't support his right to protest, and it does not mean that he was being unpatriotic, and it does not mean that you have a right to steal the narrative from what his real issue was by changing it into something that it wasn't, echoing what the president put out there at the time. You will not do that on this show. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. I'll talk to my man Paul Feinbaum next. You're listening live to Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, let's talk about Ann. In May, she was working at Walmart and heard an ad that changed her life. With no IT experience, she enrolled at My Computer Career. 4 months later, and